Michael Jordan was known as one of the NBA's greatest players of all time. I mean, every time he's argued about it versus Kobe or LeBron or any of the top athletic NBA players of today's day, they still don't stand a chance against someone who is called his airness. Actually, in 1986, Jordan, he actually scored a playoff record of 63 points against the Boston Celtics, my favorite team, by the way. And Larry Bird described him as God disguised as Michael Jordan. That's a freaking amazing title. I mean, yeah, it's almost blasphemous, but amazing title. Jordan led the NBA in scoring in 10 seasons, tied with Wilt Chamberlain's record, 7 consecutive scoring titles. He was also a fixture on NBA All-Defensive Team First Team, making the roster 9 times. That's actually an NBA shared record with Gary Payton. 9 times the all-time defensive player with someone else. I mean, that's amazing. He holds the top career regular season and playoff scoring averages at 30 and 33 points per game. This guy, he just set so many records. He was known as a clutch performer. With 5 regular season MVPs, this Michael Jordan, he also won 6 finals MVPs and 3 all-star MVPs. Jordan is the most decorated player ever to play in the NBA. Jordan finished among the top 3 in regular season MVP voting a record 10 times and was named one of the 50 greatest players in NBA history in 1996. Actually, when Magic Johnson was asked, "What do you think of Michael Jordan?" he said, "Well, there's Michael Jordan, and then there's the rest of us." Michael Jordan was respectably one of the best NBA players, amongst Babe Ruth, Muhammad Ali. I mean, these are respected athletes, you know, people who are top of their class, and he's actually considered in the top of his class with them. So you see that this Jordan guy, he was just no average Joe, not a good player. He wasn't just a decent player who maybe won a few awards or anything. He was the greatest player to ever play the game. I mean, even the greatest players to this day say, I don't even come close. Or they try to respect and mold their game after the one and only Michael Jordan. I mean, people who are not even in a shooting guard position, centers, power forwards, all of them, it's to aspire to be like Michael Jordan. This guy was one of the greatest players to ever play the game. And not only that, here's this guy who he tried out for the basketball team his freshman year, didn't even make it. There's rumors that say he didn't even make it his freshman or sophomore year. But we'll just go with freshman year. He didn't make the team. He comes back. He tries again next year, and he makes the team. And then they say after each game, what this guy did was he would come to practice early, leave practice late, and then after each game, just regular season game, he would actually run green lines. He would actually run suicides, just running back and forth, and he would work on his game. He would work at it. And I think in order for us to be bigger, we have to make sure that we put in the work. A lot of people, it's the idea of, hey, do you really want to be the best at what you're doing? And they'll say, yeah, I want to be the best I can be. But a lot of people don't want to put in that little thing called work. There's this verse in Philippians 2, and it says this, "Therefore, my beloved, as you have always obeyed, not as in my presence, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling." If you've obeyed me when I'm around, but not only that, you've obeyed me when I'm not around. And that's what it's all about. But then he goes on to say something else. He says, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. You know, salvation we see as a free gift. It's something that's given to us by God. Something that God gives to us and we say, okay, man, it's nothing that I can obtain through being righteous or doing anything perfect, because that's not what it's about. God, He actually gives me this gift of free life. And then after that, Paul says, okay, now you got to work it out. Work at it. that concept, work out your salvation, actually means continually work to bring something to fulfillment or completion. And the truth is, we can never be fulfilled or complete. There's always room to be better. And like Michael Jordan, I think that's one of the things that never stopped him. I mean, you heard some of the statistics about Michael Jordan that I shared with you. Here's this guy who actually was considered a great offensive player, but a lousy defensive player. And then he becomes this guy who's awesome at defense. Larry Bird, one of the greatest players, says, I'm actually more impressed with what he does on defense than he does on offense. He shares the record for 9 seasons of being elected as one of the defensive, all-team defensive players. I mean, this is a guy who put in the work. And so, as you come to this weekend and you're thinking, okay, this thematic mindset of what we're all about, bigger, better, brighter. How can I get bigger? How can I get better? How can I get brighter? Well, it first starts with you putting in the work. How are we to put in the work today? That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to break down tonight what it really means to put in the work.